Guys, welcome back. In this video, we are talking about how AMC just upgraded again, how the gamma squeeze is happening, the golden age for AMC, and many more in this video. First, we're taking a look at this. So, in spite of the news of AMC that was down 2.46% on the Tuesday, now today we're up 5.88%. But I want to bring this on because they tried to say that AMC dropped 3.7% was because of an error in the app. Now, essentially what happened was because of the demand for Doom Part 3, there was so much traffic going to the app that it was then going down, it crashed, and there were errors to actually purchase the ticket. Now, they're saying that the reason why AMC was down 3.7% was purely because of that reason. Now, already that is ridiculous because then how can you explain what happened on the Friday last week? How can you explain what happened on the Monday? Clearly, they just try and find any news they can to talk negative about AMC. But Adam Aron has addressed this issue. Now, even before we go on and talk about what Adam Aron has said, one of the things that we have talked about is this particular issue in the past before, where AMC's system did crash because of so much traffic. Now, I've said this already outright. This is a problem that we need to address because it is an issue if we are seeing errors when there is too high of a demand, because what that could potentially mean is that potential customers may go to other theaters to buy tickets there. So we are seeing a loss in revenue. So this is a problem. This is an issue. We have to be as non-biased as possible and objectively look at the problems. However, this is not a problem where it's caused severe damage to your AMC to the point where you've seen it drop 3.7%. This has only happened, at least within this year, one other time. So the fact that they're trying to pin this on this particular issue is just a ridiculous take. Now, in terms of what Adam Aron is saying about this, as you can see, today, though, as Doom 3 tickets were on sale, the crushing volumes briefly slowed or glitched our online ticketing systems. Indeed, AMC experienced extraordinary high demand, particularly for premium format presentations and for some of our most desired locations. So I think the main takeaway we should get from this isn't the fact that AMC's system went down, because this is the issue, this is something they should improve, but it's rather the fact we need to understand it's because of how high the demand is. We've already seen how high demand already has been for AMC, and none of that has crashed AMC's website before, apart from that one time. So the very fact that this is happening now should already tell you just how big of a quarter we should expect for AMC and just how big of a box office this really is going to get. And some of the other hints that Adam Aron is giving to us right now, especially talking about particularly for premium format presentations. Once again, going back to what we talked about with what AMC is really trying to invest with their infrastructure, it's in the premium screens. And we can see how these investments are definitely paying off as we're seeing people really trying to go towards those locations. And this is one of the biggest reasons for why we are still the biggest within the industry, but also why I strongly believe that AMC's market share is only going to get bigger because we're investing in infrastructure to actually encourage not only our existing viewers to continue to stay with us, but actually other movie viewers who are going to different theaters to come to AMC. Another thing is talking about some of our most desired locations. This is going back to what we talked about with in terms of cutting down the non-profitable oppositions and then opening up an area where it's more profitable. And so I think whilst there is a problem, and this is something that has been highlighted, and Adam Aron and AMC is already addressing to this, not only on Twitter, but it's told that 2 million of IT programming resource will let us fully address the issue. So not only have we addressed the issue, fixed it for any future worries, knowing that we can fully handle the traffic, but it's also talking about how well AMC is actually doing. We are suffering from success right now, as one could call it. And so, yes, it's a problem. And this is something I keep on highlighting. This isn't me to say that our app crashing is a good thing, because it is a good thing, the fact that we are getting so much traffic, but it's also a bad thing because it could mean that potential traffic is being lost. But this is definitely an area where it has already been highlighted. So go into the future, as we see more movies coming out, as we see Doomsday coming out, we are going to be prepared for that. So AMC is only going to learn from this mistake and get even bigger. And so for the people who are really trying to focus on this aspect of how the app crashing and ignoring the fact that this is because we've made so much money from this, again, it is just something that feels like to me they're just trying to push a negative agenda without any thought in the world. And there's a big reason for why this is happening, because if you take a look at what's going on with the options right now and what AMC is doing, again, this is what we're seeing with how it's looking like the gamma squeeze is happening. More and more gamma exposure is happening. We're seeing this happen on the option chain. We're seeing potential hedging with the 250 calls. We're seeing how market makers are trying to also, hedge their positions by buying in, by covering certain positions. But more importantly, is how this gamma exposure leading to the gamma squeeze is not only going to be just an individual gamma squeeze, but rather what this could mean in the long term. And it could really likely be the fuse for the real squeeze. We've always talked about when AMC explodes, when it goes into that kind of domino effects because of potential bankruptcy, liquidations, gamma squeeze, whatever it is that triggers the first explosive increase in AMC, that's very likely going to be the fuse for the real squeeze of AMC. And this is something that we are seeing right now. This isn't to say that this gamma squeeze will allow AMC to have the MOAS, but this is showing about the exposure that's happening right now, with the pressure that's happening right now, and with the big volatile movement we could really expect from AMC in the upcoming few weeks. Another big thing in terms of where AMC is going right now, we've seen how well the movie industry is doing right now. Again, we've seen how AMC's app crashed because of how many people are going to the movies. That's not going to stop there, because we're only going to be seeing more and more movies being released. As we see with the Paramount and the Warner Bros. In terms of settlement, we are going to be seeing a stronger, more predictable movie pipeline. Not to mention about the exclusive deals, not to mention about the quality movies that's going to come out as well. That's also going to really increase on the box office. We've already seen how there's an encouragement of new theaters to come in, and potentially AMC as well. We've always talked about the potential likelihood of AMC film distribution to really become a major thing. And so if we see things go right, if we see the right strategies being implemented, that's something we could also see as well. So in terms of understanding where AMC is going to go into the future and how big in terms of the potential and what it could be, we're looking at so many big things right now. And so ultimately, the movie industry is commencing a new golden age at AMC, and we are at the forefront with the AMC Apes as well. When we see in terms of what we're doing, remember, we already have the biggest market share. We have been investing into infrastructure for the past 3-4 years to prepare for the exact moment that's happening right now. This is why people are going to AMC. This is why people are choosing AMC, because we are offering the best theaters. We are offering the supply for the demand that these viewers want. And so our market share is only likely to become even bigger than it is now, bigger than what we can expect, bigger than what we can imagine. And this is why we've said in terms of how everyone is trying to position themselves for AMC, because they realize what's inevitably going to happen. What we also are seeing right now, it's how when you take a look at what's going on for AMC, you're seeing 1.5 million shares sold in certain red candles. However, what they're trying to convince is that during this time is that simultaneously, all apes decided to come together to sell 1.5 million shares. Of course, that's not the case. And we've always known that. We know that these guys are just trying to, of course, manipulate the share price. They are just trying to give us a false narrative of what's actually going on. But you have to understand that right now, because of things like this that's happening, because of the synthetics creations that's ongoing for AMC, it's truly shaped up to be the biggest squeeze. Is why we've said that AMC will go down in history, not only the biggest fraud case when it comes to naked shorting synthetic shares, but also the biggest case study for when the short squeeze happened. And this is what we are ultimately seeing. Because on top of this, not only are we seeing naked shorts and synthetic shares being created for shorting, if institutions are buying more AMC but no one is selling them, maybe fake loans are being created just like fake shares to short. How many AMC shares have been created out of thin air? Billions, trillions. The MOAS will be epic. And just like what we talked about in terms of no apes have been selling, or at least the majority, the 99% of apes hasn't sold their shares. So for the last 2 weeks, we've seen institutions actually able to buy up 29% of the flow, meaning retail sold 29% of flow in the last 2 weeks. Now, if you ask me, I don't think that's possible. And so the only way for this to have happened, it's because they're also creating shares for the institutions to buy as well, or it's because of the synthetic shares that have been shorted, they needed a counterparty, so the institutions are buying out the counterparty shares. And this is why we've said that ultimately all of these things are just going to create the biggest squeeze ever for AMC, and that's what we are obviously looking out for. As always, none of this is financial advice, and I'll catch you guys next time.